So, we're talking today about the new issue of World War III Illustrated, number 55, which is entitled The Right to Live in Peace. And this issue deals with the ongoing situation in Gaza. And the title comes from a song by Victor Jara uh, called The Right to Live in Peace. And Laramar Laura is going to sing that song.
El derecho de vivir, poeta Ho Chi Minh, que golpea de Vietnam a toda humanidad. Ningún cañón borrará el surco de tu arrozal. El derecho de vivir en paz. Indochina es el lugar más allá del ancho mar, donde revientan la flor con genocidio y napalm. La luna es una explosión que funde todo el clamor. El derecho de vivir en paz. Palestina es el lugar más allá del ancho mar, donde revientan la flor por genocidio y napalm. La luna es una explosión que funde todo el clamor. El derecho de vivir en paz. Dios, nuestra canción es fuego de puro amor, es palomo, palomar, olivo del olivar, es el canto universal, cadena que hará triunfar el derecho de vivir en paz. Ra, 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 ra. 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 Es el canto universal, cadena que hará triunfar el derecho de vivir en paz. El derecho de vivir en paz.
So, this this is Larimer's piece for this issue, and it was really Larimer's idea that we involve the song in the issue. So I'm hoping Larimer would explain the history of this song and how it's relevant to the situation in Palestine.
Yes, absolutely. So, just a bit about myself. I'm a cartoonist and I'm also a grassroots organizer in New York City, in a movement for Puerto Rican independence. And so in my organizing work, international solidarity is of incredible importance to us. And I'm also a cultural worker. Make music. And so I listen to a lot of radical musicians. Of course, Victor Jara was really the person who started the Nueva Canción movement out of Latin America, of kind of like anti-imperialist folk songs. And so he was coming out of Chile during the time of the, popular socialist movement. And this is, late 60s and the 70s. This is when the US is, engaging in their war of aggression in Vietnam. So he produces this song that's in solidarity with the Vietnamese people. And, really just professing that, that love to Vietnam from Chile, while, engaging in the struggle there. And there have been I produced that piece that was on the screen in November of 2023. So this was a month into the genocide in Gaza, and the parallels between the the movement to support a free Palestine and the movement against the Vietnam War in the United States were becoming really, really clear, where this was a moment where the U.S. couldn't hide its genocidal intentions, right? And people were really seeing this moment for what it was in a way that was really echoing that moment. And so I created that piece as an expression of solidarity, with the people of Palestine, of course, with the people of Gaza, from not just New York, but also from the Puerto Rican movement, wherein Puerto Rico is also, right, a settler colony that's been undergoing, right, those conditions for the last 500 years. So we have very, very deep solidarity with the struggle of the Palestinian people and the struggle for a free Palestine. And in that way, like, we've worked closely with Palestinian organizers the entire time we've been out here, like, showing up to Nakba Day and all kinds of things. So that's kind of, part of what informed that. But I was definitely thinking a lot about this song and listening to it, and how much that sentiment still, came through. That this song is, right, like, it's an expression of love, but also of the triumph of the people, with the understanding that in the end, the people's struggle will succeed, and we will see a free Palestine. So.
Well, thank you, Larimer, for that piece, for your artwork, for your singing, and for the optimism and principled politics you've brought to the magazine. We really appreciate your participation. Um, this is a really special issue because this is the first issue that was edited by Mohammed Sabana, who has been a contributor to our magazine for a number of years, and I like to think of him as my personal friend, but is now also an editor of the magazine. As some of you may know, we have a large editorial board, and Mohammed has joined that editorial board. So I'd like to turn this over to Mohammed to talk about his work in the issue. And Mohammed, tell us about what you're doing with the issue.
Thank you, Seth, for this great opportunity to participate with this issue first, and with this great contribution with our struggle against the occupation, against the settler colonialism that we are facing here in Palestine. It's not just about land, it's not just about human being, and it's also about the narrative. As Edward Said said, that the power of to narrate or to block other narrative from forming and emerging, it's very important for culture and imperialism, and that's exactly what we have been facing since 1947, not 1948, and maybe before that, that the Israeli and the settler colonialism want to block the narrative of the Palestinian people in order to justify their occupation for our land, and to justify exactly what they are doing right now in Gaza. They've mentioned that explicitly with the beginning of this genocide, that we are fighting against human animal. And with this issue, we prove that we are, as a Palestinian, we are a human being. We have artists, we have writer, we have this opportunity to create an visual art, and to convey our narrative for the reader and the audience from around the world. It's not just our resistance, it's not just about our land, and also about our dignity, our heritage, and our image for us as a Palestinian people, that we are human being. In this issue, I participated with this piece that it would be next year. It will be printed in a whole book, talking about or comparing between the life inside the Israeli prison after the 7th of October, and the life in Gaza. My brother was a Palestinian prisoner. He spent more than 1 year during the war inside the Israeli prison, and this silent genocide inside the Israeli prison, it can be compared with what's going on in Gaza. That's why I brought his story as a vehicle to convey the situation in the West Bank, for the Palestinian prisoner in the West Bank, and for the human being and the people in Gaza. All of these story in this book, it will be a real story. The story of my brother came by interview with him after he was released from the prison, and actually while we were working in this issue, he was arrested for one night by the Israeli. And just last night, the Israeli break into my village in around Jenin, and as usual, he prepared himself to go to the Israeli prison. The life inside the Israeli prison, with the starvation, torturing, attacking the Palestinian prisoner inside the Israeli prison, it's similar to the life inside Gaza. No one right now talking about the Palestinian prisoner, because all the concentration and the media talking about Gaza, but it is the same right now for more than the number that we know, 10,000 Palestinian prisoners inside the Israeli prison, but we don't know how many Palestinian prisoners from Gaza who they are right now in this Israeli prison. And I want also to explain one thing, that my brother and many Palestinian prisoners, they are inside the Israeli prison under the administrative detention law. That means these prisoners, they are inside the prison without going to court, uh, uh, without any reason, actually, just because the Israeli military forces or the Israeli intelligence want to arrest them, just because they think that they want to put these Palestinian prisoners for their reason. As you can see, I try to design my character by two ways or two style. The cubism, that you can see the Israeli prisoners, the Israeli soldiers, all these features inside the prison. But when you are looking to the Palestinian prisoner, the style of these Palestinian prisoners more cartoony way, more cartoon style, and that's because I want to implement MC Cloud theory about the character design and how you can create this cartoony character to make it easy for the reader to replace themselves by this character and to feel exactly what exactly they face inside the Israeli prison. And all of these details, maybe the reader will not believe that all of these details, it's real details. That's my brother. That was his journey during 1 year inside the Israeli prison. All of these things, as you mentioned, I've tried to use a new technique and a new way to create this kind of cartoon. And this graphic novel can be the second issue of my first graphic novel, Born of a Dream, which was published in 2020 by Street Noise in United States. And this book, Welcome to Hell, it will be published but also by Street Noise, because the first book I was talking about, because most of my career or most of my artwork now rely on settler colonialism political framework, how the indigenous face the settler colonialism regime and how the settler colonialism want to treat the indigenous. At that time in 2020, I want to compare between the Palestinian people inside the Israeli prison and outside the Israeli prison. By that book, you will discover that all the Palestinian people, even inside the prison or outside the prison, they are prisoners. They are in these cities, not just in Gaza, and also here in the West Bank. Each camp, each city, each village here in Palestine and in the West Bank, it can be prison. Right now, we cannot go outside Ramallah without crossing 3 or 4 Israeli checkpoints. And if you watch the news, you can find how many the violence of the Israeli illegal settlers in the West Bank. You can find that right now in the West Bank we have more than 900 Israeli checkpoint and gate. If you want to cross through the Palestinian city, which should be under the international law as a Palestinian state. That's why at that time I want to compare between the life inside the Israeli prison and outside the Israeli prison to prove that what we are facing is settler colonialism who want to implement the logic of elimination, as Patrick Wolf mentioned in his book, The Settler Colonialism. But after the 7th of October, what we are facing even inside the Israeli prison and outside the Israeli prison, inside Gaza and outside Gaza, actually the Palestinian people, they are facing genocide. And in Gaza, you can watch that through the social media videos, through the news, and surely not the mainstream media, BBC and CNN and all Fox News and all of these channels. But you can watch all of these videos from the social media, from the activists from Gaza, from the journalists who they been targeted since the 7th of October also. That's why also I want to convey exactly the Palestinian prisoner inside Gaza, inside the Israeli prison, how they are facing the same genocide without news, without activists, without anyone can convey this event inside the Israeli prison. You can see that the different style between the two character, the oppressor, the settler, and the indigenous people or the Palestinian prisoner inside the Israeli prison. Uh, you can see the panels that the black area around this panel, because right now I'm trying to do my research about the for the PhD. I'm trying also to implement all of this theory that I'm reading about the comics. The big area between the panel to give the audience or the reader the space to think or to fill this gap between these panel and to imagine exactly what no one can imagine what's going on inside the prison, because right now still my brother he's treating himself by going to the mountain, the wild life around his our village, because what he faced inside the Israeli prison, no one can imagine that. That's why you can see the gutter around the panel, big with big black area to give the reader the space to think about the life inside these Israeli prisons. More presents about, sorry, more panels just to convey. And also I used the Indian ink to produce this book, or this piece for World War III magazine. And actually I started this book with the piece of World War III magazine, and I thought maybe I can do it whole story, because there are many stories from inside the prison. And also, I interviewed many friends from Gaza. Akram Sorani, he's a writer, and Safa Audi, she's also contributed with this issue for World War III. I interviewed them, get some story from them about the life inside the Israeli prison and inside Gaza, to compare between all of these details. That's the piece. I don't know exactly if I can talk about something else.
Um, I think that I know our time is limited, so maybe we should go on to talk to one of the artists who you brought into the issue, um, which um, which is Hamza.
Hamza.
Um, um, yes, Hamza, tell us about the work you did for the issue.
Well, firstly, good morning from your side, good evening from our side of the world. It was an amazing opportunity that actually presented by Muhammad Zabani for me to share with you this glorious platform, the World War III magazine. Um, well, actually, I'm not that articulate as Muhammad, and not that academic. Let me say in the comic, yeah, in the comic field. I'm a visual artist. I did my master's in autonomous design. It's basically public art, politics, and sociology, all mashed together. So, and actually, I'm blessed with ADHD. It's a blessing actually, because I can do many things in very short time. And yeah, so when Muhammad proposed this opportunity that I can elaborate or express what's going on inside my 4 or 5 brains in my head, uh, yeah, I was amazed. Like, thank you, Muhammad, and thank you, Seth, for this opportunity. Um And actually, I have a quote from Shakespeare from Midsummer, Midsummer Dream, I think. Yeah, things need not to have happened to be true. Tales and dreams are the shadow truths that will endure when mere facts are dust and ashes and forgot. So yeah, basically, it's about the stories that we can keep.
Can we see the artwork?
Yeah, of course. Now I will share my screen to show you my my pieces or my piece. So yeah, it's called Not Numbers. It's a fictional story based on, I think, real events. It's a match between our realm and the dream realm, let's say. It's about a janitor. He used to be working on this kind of school, and after a few days of bombing, he just saw the place that he worked in, and you can see the rubble and leftovers of the school, bags, notebooks. He just sat there and he didn't know what to do. At night, he started to see shadows, and he didn't understand what they were. Yeah, he tried to approach them, and basically, they are just the stories, people who really lived there. They were interacting with the space itself. Uh, I use this kind of. I will try to speak like Sabani with some fancy comic words. This kind of swirl with the moon. It's it looks like a portal between the real world and the imaginary, the fictional, the ghost realm. That's why we can see these characters when we see the moon. To tell you the truth, I'm not the best comic artist. I just do it like part of what I do, part of my practices,
It's
part of my
beautiful.
many practices. Sorry?
I say it's beautiful.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
It's
and it's a universal human experience that the people we've lost speak to us.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And at one moment, he just interacted with these ghosts, like, please don't forget us. And he promised that he won't. And later on, the next morning, it's bright day, and he started collecting stuff from the rubble, notebooks, pens, whatever. And finally, it became a museum, the Museum of Yesterday. I know it's a cliche name, but sometimes cliches delivers the idea, sorry, more quickly. And I think I concluded my whole concept with this statement in the last frame. We are not numbers to be counted, but names that pulse in the memory of the land. We had dreams that bloomed and stories carried by the wind through the ruins. Sorry, I'm a little bit dyslexic also. So yeah, basically this was my artwork. This was my contribution to this issue of World War III magazine. And maybe I shouldn't say that, but just to clear off my chest, I actually used AI. You know that?
Okay, whatever
I'll
you
tell you
got
how.
to do.
No, no, in a way, I'm not proud, but proud to say it. Instead of building the frame from scratch, I used AI, described the whole scene that I want to see, and basically it gave me the structure, and I re-illustrated it with my style. So it was like a helper to me, not like someone who played everything. So in a way, I cut the instead of working, let's say 2 hours, it became 30 minutes. Well, not the numbers, but it shrank the time that I was working on. And actually, this is my second time illustrating a comic using digital media. Usually, I do it with ink and paper and stuff. But this was my second time doing it on a tablet or a Wacom, actually.
Well, we very much appreciate that you've created something beautiful and hopeful out of such a difficult and upsetting situation that the Palestinian people and the world find themselves in. So we very much appreciate your contribution and the contribution of Muhammad in bringing you and many, many other Palestinian artists um, into the issue. Um, and if I may, I'd like to talk a little bit about the magazine World War III Illustrated and how we have dealt with the issue of Palestine over the years. Um, oh, excuse me. Um, Does everyone see the phrase World War III illustrated in the issue of Palestine?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so we started this magazine in 1979 as a response to the rise of Ronald Reagan, and we were always critical of American foreign policy and American domestic policy, and certainly all the wars that the right has dragged us into over the years. Um, the first editors were myself, Peter Cooper, and Christoph Karlhofer, and we used to joke that we were two Jews and a German talking about the rise of fascism in the United States, which doesn't seem like a joke anymore. Um, and we really became aware of the issue of Palestine because we found out that a cartoonist, Naji al-Ali, had been murdered, had been assassinated in 1989. Eric Drucker made us aware of this and brought us an interview um, with Naji Ali that had originally been published in Middle East Focus, and we published this in World War III Illustrated in 1988. Um, and this began a process for us of looking at the issue of Palestine, and it inspired work by a number of World War III artists, including Eric Drucker and Peter Cooper and myself. And Tom Keogh traveled to Gaza in 1989 and did a comic strip detailing the conditions he found there. And because this was several years before Joe Sacco published his acclaimed Palestine series, it's quite possible that Tom Keogh was the first American cartoonist to go to the occupied territories and to show what conditions like there were like. And here's a panel where Tom describes the Intifada and describes it as consisting of many different activities, not just people throwing rocks at soldiers, but all kinds of civil disobedience. So this is, of course, this word that we're now told we're not allowed to use, intifada, and this is Tom showing what that word actually meant. So that was an incredibly powerful piece he did in 1989. And more recently, Ethan Heitner joined our group, and Ethan has been very active in the movement for boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel. And we've also continued to publish Palestinian artists like Taysir Barakat and Mohammed Sabana. And um, our previous issue came out right after October 7th. And when October 7th happened, we communicated to the Palestinian artists working on the issue that we still wanted their work and that it did not change anything for us. We were very interested in what they had to say, and they did great work for that issue. Here's a cover by Taysir. Um, and the current issue is edited by Mohammed Sabana, Annabelle Heckler, um, Larimar Laura, and myself. So Mohammed participates as an editor and also did this amazing cover art. Um, and of course, this is an ongoing crisis, and people want to do more than read a comic book. So here are a few groups you could support and participate with. Um, and you might want to take a screenshot of these frames so that you know how to reach these groups. But of course, there are many people around the world and many groups around the world working on the Israel-Palestine conflict. So these are not the only groups, and you might find someone you can work with who is closer to you and your politics than the groups listed here. But I believe more important than anything else, any other political activity right now, is simply to be clear with everyone you know that you understand that there is genocide going on in Gaza and that you support the human rights of Palestinian people. And to say that, not only to your political comrades, but to all your friends, to your family, to the people at your church or your mosque or your synagogue, to say that at work, to say that um, with everyone you deal with at school, because what we've been dealing with for many, many years is the idea that this is too controversial to be discussed, that you can't say anything about the Israel-Palestine conflict. And there's been an imposed silence on this issue. And what we're seeing in Gaza is what states do when they are beyond criticism, when they're not accountable. So the first thing we need to do is break this silence and establish that it is okay to criticize Israel, that it's okay to talk about this issue, that this issue is something human beings can discuss. Um, and I encourage everyone to be as upfront and out of the closet about their support for Palestine as possible. And I hope you will take that message from our magazine and from our participation in all the events that the magazine is participating in this fall. Thank you very much for your time. So there we go. Does that work for everybody?
Yes, that was great.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for all of you for everything you've done on the issue. And I think we've done something important here. I feel this producing this issue of the magazine has been one of the most important political activities I've been part of. In that, I think people need to hear Palestinian voices right now. I think it's really important that people understand your point of view. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Seth. That was
Oh,
great to work with you for this issue and to give all the Palestinian artists, especially the artists from Gaza, actually, Safa and Maisara, and Suhail, this opportunity also to convey their voices during this genocide.
Mohammed, I'm wondering how are they doing?
Maisara, he was evacuated by the France government to
Okay,
Marseille. Safa is still in Deir al-Balah, Suhail is still in Gaza also. Both of them, but they will be evacuated because right now they declared that Gaza City is a war zone.
right.
I'm not sure where exactly, but Safa right now, this is something important. I work with Safa with workshop with the kids who they been evacuated to Gaza, and now, right now she's giving them workshop about comics and about political cartoon.
Okay, that's beautiful. I really pray for their safety, uh, and just for all of this to come to an end very quickly because they've definitely been on my mind. Um, just having worked with them on this issue. And if there's any kind of support that we can offer them beyond like publishing their work, like any kind of funds or anything, please feel free to, um, reach out and I can try to connect to people in New York um, at any time. Because yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
And how are you, Mohammed?
I'm fine.
You're fine?
Great. In Gaza, in Ramallah right now.
Okay. And is it okay to include all of what was just said about the situations of the artists in the video we send out?
Yeah, sure. If
Okay.
you want, I can send you a video that Safa sent me just yesterday about her workshop in Gaza. I will send it for by the email for all the list. You can see
Well,
it also.
okay, we'll find a place to put it.
Thank you.
I don't know whether we'll be able to give it to the Anarchist Book Fair because we may have run through our time, but we'll see.
Hope so.
Okay. Well, thank you
Thank you.
so much, everybody. And
Thank you.
have
Thank
the
y'all for
best day you
accommodating
can
my
under
uh
the conditions.
thank y'all
Okay.
for accommodating my technical difficulties. I'm so sorry for the delay, but I really appreciate
No
the time.
problem.
You should work with Hamza. Hamza is great with the AI and he can edit some of your song by AI.
Okay.
I really liked the comic.
Thank
Thank you
you.
Yeah,
very
we
much.
love that comic. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
all.
Thank
Bye,
you.
God
y'all.
bless
Bye-bye.
you all.
Have a great one. Be safe.